Hi folks, just gonna do another wee video today to show you how to handle having one single base. In this case I'm going to be using a Warbird base and having multiple grips and the easiest way to configure and set it up. So let's get started. So today I have a Warbird base and I have a V1 grip attached to it, a Virpil grip attached to it. So let's go through the first things to set it up. I'm loading up the software, and the first thing I'm going to do is go to the firmware tab. I'm going to do a firmware update to the latest version. I'm using 2019 November 5th version. It'll pretty much work the same on most versions. They've automated the firmware update procedure. Okay, so that's the firmware updated. Next step we have to do now is create a profile. So go in there, click our profile. Go and select our Warbird base and then our grip. And the one I've got is the standard one here. Now I am not going to do left and right. I'm just going to leave it a default. So create profile. And there we go. You can't see it, but off screen on the lower right hand corner, there's a USB input device being added, a pop-up box from Windows itself. So there we go, VPC stick, Warbird, good stuff. So that's the first basic part done. That's making sure that the firmware on the base is matching whatever version you're going to use for the software here. I'm just going to stress this again, because there's a lot of people posting support queries in the forums and stuff going, I just reinstalled Windows and I installed the software and now I'm having problems. At the end of the day, if your VPC device is working, as in your joystick, throttle, whatever, and everything's going okay on it, and you reinstall Windows or buy a new computer or something like that, you don't need to mess around with this software. The simple fact is all the settings that you put, the configuration and calibration, are stored in EEPROM in the base itself. So generally, once you set the device up, you don't really need to fiddle around with the software. So do yourself a favor, if your thing's working, unless there's a bug or a problem with the current version of software, stroke firmware you're using on your actual Virpil device, don't start arsing about and upgrading your firmware. If it's working, just leave it alone. Okay, with that warning over, let's get on to the next bit. So we've updated the firmware, we've done a configuration, and the newer versions of the software, when you create the configuration, it actually saves it directly back to the device, which is handy. Next up, I'm going to go into axes and do a calibration of all the axes to make sure they're okay, because right now they're returning stupid values, as you see here. So as before, if you've seen me in any of my other videos, just move the stick through its full range of motion. I'm going fully forward, fully backward, and then the diagonal corners on each of the diagonal corners, northeast, southeast, southwest, northwest, and then I'm using the grip lever. If you're watching this in the future and you happen to have one of those little alpha grips that are coming out soon, then make sure you move the analog stick around its full range of motion. Once you've done that, take your hand off the stick, let the stick settle, and then click the save button. Good news now is that the calibration automatically saves back to the device. So I was trying to explain to you, the calibration is stored on the actual device itself. So even if I unplug this joystick and plug it into a new machine or somewhere else, the calibration is stored in the device and stays with the device, so I don't really need to mess around with this software. And now you can see the stick's not moving, and it's exactly in the 50% for the X and Y, and the Z, which is the gripper, is set to 0. I'll just give it a wee squeeze there. Right, so we've set up our first combination, our first grip, along with our base. So go to Profile. Just to be sure, click the load It'll pull the configuration information off the flash on the device, load it into this program, and now export profile to file. So I already have a folder numbered with the correct version of the firmware. So I'm going to give this a suitable name. Call it V1 grip underscore warbird. Base. Right, so that lets me know what this configuration file is. It's a V1 grip and it's a warbird base. Just click save. Okay, so that's basically step one done. So what I'll do now is I will unplug the USB connector that's going into the computer from the joystick, and I will then remove the unscrew the grip. So I'll do that now. Be right back. Okay, so what I've done now is the USB's been disconnected. The original V1 grip has been removed. I've now put on my new CM2 grip. And what I'm going to do now is plug the joystick back in to the computer. Okay, so I'm liking that. It's automatically loading in the information. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new profile. So select warbird base, whatever base you have, obviously click the right one. This, I don't know what setup you have. I'm just doing it on this one for an example. But then go grip. So this new grip is our CM2. And we go create profile. So it's creating a profile and saving it onto the device. Okay, so one last thing I'm doing to be sure is the fact that because we've created a new profile, it's flushed and wiped the configuration. That's why these numbers are yet again silly values. So as we did before, go to calibrate axes. And we're now moving the joystick in its full range of motion and finishing off by doing the brake grip lever. And yet again, if you happen to have one of the new alpha grips that has the analog stick on it, remember to do it as well. Move it around its full range of motion, like up, forward, backward, left, right, and then do the diagonals. And then take your hand off the stick and just let it be, and then save calibration. Right. Okay, so it's loading it back in. I'm just gonna double load it just because I'm really cautious. Some of the more keener observational people have noticed there's a little tick box, save current calibration. I've tried this before and it was problematic, so I do not do that, and that's why I perform calibration on both the grips on the base. So now I'm going to export. Click on that and rename it because I'm lazy and want to type less. So that's CM2 grip and warbird base. And I'm going to save that. Right, so that's it set up basically. We now have two profiles. So the procedure for changing between the grips is relatively easy from this point onwards. Load up the software, unplug the USB from the base to the PC, remove the current grip you have, put on your new grip, screw it in, tighten it up, connect it to the PC again, and then import profile from file, and then click the Save VPC Device button. And that will allow you to swap between your two different grips relatively quickly. Please remember to unplug the USB from the base to the PC before you start actually unscrewing and plugging in your new grip in case you possibly damage the electronics and end up with a nice and expensive paperweight. So that's basically how to set up and swap between different grips. I hope this helps.